What's up everybody, 219 Football here, and in today's video we are going to be going over every single play from Bryce Young versus the Chicago Bears on Sunday. His first action since getting benched. Has he improved at all? Let's find out. Alright, the very first play, Young comes in and everybody is talking about this throw. Rolls to his right and drops a dime over the defenders for a nice gain. I've heard this talked about as the best throw of his career so far, which I actually don't agree with. I think that his throw versus Green Bay last year, where he dropped a dime on a corner route to DJ Chark, is his best throw. But anyway, this is definitely up there, though, as this is a fantastic throw. Although not everything is good in this play, so let's dive into it. First off, for the routes, there is simply nothing open before Bryce looks to scramble. Firstly, he looks left where you have Sanders on the out route and Mingo on a go, but he's off of it pretty quickly as those routes are not open at all. Then he comes down to this drag route and dig, where the drag he could throw, but this receiver would be lit up by a linebacker for like a 2-yard gain if he doesn't drop it. Honestly, you could say this dig route is open, but I'm okay with Young turning his down with the safety looking to come down, either to pick it off, which happened versus the Chargers, or crack his receiver as he's catching it. If you have a quarterback with better arm strength, you can probably make this throw, but with Bryce, I'm okay with a turn down here. Now comes the big issue with Bryce, bailing from a clean pocket here. Not ideal in the NFL, you never want to abandon a clean pocket. If he stands in the pocket, he can still have the whole field to direct traffic and find someone open as long as protection holds, which it looks like it will. Instead, you roll out, which allows Darrell Taylor to bring pressure and chase you, as well as cutting off half the field, and you only have one running back on this side to throw to. Now, obviously, it works out, but not a good habit to have, and it's never something he did at Bama and only started recently in the league, but he needs to relearn his pocket presence at this level and wants to be successful. Anyways, the throw here is absolutely perfect. Gets it around Darrell Taylor and over the secondary to Miles Sanders in stride. Just beautiful. We need to see more of this perfect accuracy he had at Bama in the league. Great play by Bryce Young, but still stuff to clean up. Alright, next play the Panthers are going to run a mesh concept. Bryce makes a nice throw here to the drag from Jalen Coker, who has a nice run after catch to get the first down. So mesh is a widely run concept in every level of football, so very simple reads here for Bryce. Firstly, he goes to the rail from the running back, which he doesn't throw as he sees the linebacker cutting it off over top. He then comes to his second read, which is the drag from Coker. Pretty good accuracy on the throw, a little out in front, but good enough, obviously allowing Coker to catch and run. Overall, good accuracy and read from Bryce on the throw, but the one thing I want to point out on this play is Bryce's base on this throw. One thing Bryce struggles with constantly is his base on throws. He often throws with little to no base, letting the ball flutter out there with not great accuracy. On this throw, he has both his feet planted and delivers an accurate throw on time. Great stuff here from Bryce, and yes, I get it, it's a 6-yard throw, but it still shows maybe some growth from Bryce in terms of his footwork while he's been benched. Simple but good rep from Bryce Young on this play. And this play is honestly just hilarious. Bryce throws short left, bounces off receiver's hands, and right off the face mask of the safety. Should have been picked off, but luckily Jonathan Owens cannot catch a football. Anyway, this is just all slants from the Panthers. Bryce looks left here first. His receiver beats his man inside, and Bryce delivers the throw on time. Just maybe a little high if you're nitpicking. In my opinion, David Moore needs to catch this pass. Again, just my opinion, but if you beat your guy, the throw is out in front, so you gotta be ready to bring it in. Looks like the DB does get his hand in there too. Anyways, for Bryce Young, he's on time and pretty accurate with the throw here, so that's good. He, as always, shows great anticipation. He's going to throw the ball before the receiver is out of his break. One thing to touch on is the footwork. Just one play after I praise his base, he goes back to happy feet. If he keeps his feet set right here, he can probably drive the ball a bit better and could probably bring it down a bit, giving his receiver a better chance to catch it. It's these little things that have killed Bryce in his NFL career so far, and this will continue to do so if he does not fix it. Everything else on this play, I think Bryce does very well, but if he fixes his base and can bring down the ball placement, this would have been a perfect rep. Next play, the Bears are showing blitz pre-snap and come with it. It's picked up pretty well, but eventually pressure gets through, forcing Bryce to scramble, and he just ends up throwing this away. It seems like his first read is Sanders running the seam up the middle, but overall this route is simply way too slow and just not good enough. This forces Bryce to his second read, coming to Coker running his dig over the middle of the field. Now, with how much Bryce throws with anticipation, I'm very surprised he doesn't let this dig rip out of the break. Honestly, he probably stays on Sanders for a little too long, and it's a little late by the time he gets to Coker, but he can for sure still throw this. When he hits his back foot here, he has time to reset and rip this over the middle of the field with all this space. Honestly, the route could be better here. He rounds this a ton, but he's still NFL open, and especially with all the sprays Bryce has to lead him with. But instead of doing that, Bryce never sets his feet and instead does whatever this is. And by that time, the pressure is almost in his face, forcing him out of the pocket. And obviously, whenever he rolls out, there's no one open here. Sanders has his hand up in the end zone, but there's absolutely no way Bryce is making that throw. I think Bryce really missed an opportunity here to hit one over the middle, but instead he never sets his feet to rip it, and leading him to roll out with nothing there. Alright, coming out in 5 wide here, Bryce makes a nice play stepping up in the pocket and delivering a good throw over the middle for a first down again to Coker. So the Panthers are running 3 stop routes on this play, 2 by the outsides and 1 by the slot over the middle of the field. By Bryce's eyes, it looks like the middle of the field is the first read, and if that's covered, one of the outside stops becomes a second read. And it looks like the Bears are in match coverage here to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Bryce's first read is, well, wide open. But before Bryce is able to set his feet and throw, his right guard loses pretty much immediately, forcing him to step up, where he delivers an accurate throw, allowing Coker to get down and protect himself from this corner. So overall, this play is pretty good from Bryce, but again, I think it could have been better. Whenever Robert Hunt loses on this play, instead of Bryce sprinting around him and throwing off balance on the run, I think since Hunt does a good job of knocking the D tackle inside, Bryce could instead sidestep to his right here and slide up instead of running around. This way he can again set his feet, line up to his target, and deliver a throw that could have much more velocity and could allow Bryce to put it on his face, and maybe allowing Coker to get some yards after the catch. Some may say this is a bit too much to ask, and maybe it is, but that's just what I think could improve Bryce's game so much more. But overall, he still makes a good play here, delivering the throw to move the chains. This play I really do not like from Bryce. He's going to throw this little stop route from Miles Sanders on the outside, and it falls incomplete. Pretty simple concept, all hitches from Carolina. Chicago looks to be in cover 2. Reads-wise, Bryce looks from his right to his left. He turns down Coker, which does look open, but clearly the slot corner can step up and pick this off if thrown. Mingo was covered by the linebacker, leading Bryce to his left, where he has 2 options, Deontay Johnson or Miles Sanders. In my opinion, he picks wrong here, as he throws to Sanders on the outside, who gives pretty much no effort to catch the ball, by the way. This linebacker is closest to Johnson, and he gives him a pretty big cushion, but if Bryce is scared of him jumping the route, he can easily lead him down away from the linebacker, allowing Deontay to come back to the ball. Instead, he turns that down and throws to a running back, who gives little to zero effort. Another massive problem on this play is the absolute horrid footwork from Young in the pocket. Firstly, he is never set up to throw anything to his right, so if anything on that side was open, he would not be able to hit it, or he would be super late, allowing the defense to catch up. And secondly, he is way too drifty here, drifting all the way to the left for no reason. Instead of standing tall in the pocket, he drifts all the way out here, and again, just doesn't have a good base to throw off of. It's just frustrating to see him make the same footwork mistakes over and over again, and it hinders him every time. Just not a good rep from Young here at all, in my opinion. Next play, Bryce is just going to check it down for little to no gain to Miles Sanders. Concept-wise, the Panthers are going to try and get an end zone shot with some double moves on the outside, seams on the inside, and Miles Sanders on the swing out check down, and the Bears are again playing match coverage, and it looks like Bryce sees this with the corner, so over the top on the double move that won't be open, so the slot corner takes up the seam up the field, which leads to the linebacker trailing Miles Sanders, who could beat him to the edge and gain a few yards. And I totally agree with this decision. Some people will try and talk about how Mingo is open at the top and he missed it, and he is open, but Bryce is not reading that side of the field, so obviously he can't throw it. So I do believe Bryce makes the right decision to check it down, and he does so very decisively, which is good. One thing he doesn't lead the throw as much as you would want, having Miles Sanders slow down, allowing the linebacker to catch up a bit, but it's nothing major. And honestly, I have no idea what Miles Sanders is doing here on the edge. He could very easily keep going and gain yards, but for some reason he stops. And instead of gaining some, he gains none. So, good job, Miles Sanders. Anyway, even though it's no gain, I actually do like this rep from Bryce. Next up, third down for Carolina. Young doesn't see anything and will take it himself and come up just short of the first down. Very nice individual effort here from Bryce, and it almost pays off, but Sanborn eventually gets him down. Routes-wise, it looks like the Panthers are trying to run a double post concept with a rail from the tight end, and it just looks really bad. Firstly, Coker and Mingo have really bad spacing on this play, and basically being right next to each other. Also, Jatavion Sanders, who runs the rail, is just still looking super slow and doesn't get open. If Bryce has the time here, he does have the option to put it on Sanders' back shoulder here. However, the Bears run a stunt up front that the Panthers do not pick up, leading to pressure. Young does a nice job of stepping up here. A nice little peek back to know he's got a rusher chasing him from this other side, and he knows he's got to keep rolling out. Defender dives and misses. No one is open downfield, so Bryce will just take it himself, and he gets so close, but it gets tackled before the line to gain. Great individual effort here from Bryce. Very good pocket movement, just can't quite get it there. Alright, final play, fourth down, just a disaster. Receiver falls down, Bryce tries to scramble, but cannot escape, leading to a sack and turnover on downs. Routes-wise, the Panthers are running what looks like stick at the bottom at first, before both receivers run double moves, where it actually looks like Coker actually does get open, but Bryce is not looking at him. At the top, it looks like the primary route is most likely what is going to be a stop route from David Moore before he falls down. And obviously, it's going to be wide open because as David Moore falls, so does the safety up top, who is going to look to come down and cover Moore. So it looks like Bryce can still throw this, though, so why does he step up here and get sacked? Well, his left guard loses pretty much immediately, giving pressure almost instantly. However, this is a quick game, and in my opinion, Bryce needs to let this go way before he steps up here. Fourth down, this throw is wide open for the NFL. Even if a receiver falls down, he still has time to get back up and catch the ball and get the first down. Of course, Bryce doesn't have his feet set, which doesn't help the timing of this at all. So let's pretend that this route is covered at the start. At first, this might look like horrid pocket movement, and it's not the best, but it's not horrible. So after this guard loses instantly, Bryce can see that, and he also sees the middle of the field wide open. So what he's thinking is he can step up, like he did a few plays earlier, and either take this himself or hit this throw to David Moore on the run. One wrench in the plan is Austin Booker swims inside, cutting off Bryce's running lane. He reacts quickly, making Booker miss, and here's where I see this could have gone better. He cuts back to the middle of the pocket because of this defender coming across his face, but when you cut back to the middle of the pocket, there's going to be more defenders you have to avoid. And I think Bryce should have kept going to his left, where he should be able to outrun this defensive lineman. That way, you don't run back into the defense, and you can get out into space where you can either take off or make a throw. Instead, he cuts back into defenders who cut off his lanes, and he gets taken down. Overall, it's not as bad as the play seems initially, but Bryce definitely could have been better on this one. So after watching all these plays, what should you take away? Well, for me, what I take away is Bryce is not ready to start again, but I think he's improved a bit. It seems his accuracy has been getting better, but his footwork is still an absolute mess. He made a few good plays. Obviously, his first throw was a dime, and he made a few good plays on the run and showed some good processing. I still believe Bryce is capable of being a good starter in this league. He's got the accuracy, playmaking, and processing. It's all there. It needs to be re-unlocked, and it starts with his lower half. If he can get his footwork down, his accuracy, his arm strength will improve. So will his timing on short route concepts. So he showed some decent flashes, but he showed he still should sit for a while. But I think Panthers fans should leave this game with something positive, that the number one pick they drafted is still in there somewhere.